So, good morning. Welcome to our class this morning. I wanted to just take a moment here to share a little bit about the importance of attunement. And let's start first. We'll attune our own bodies to the various seed sounds, which in the energetic spine there are various centers, 7 of them. You may be familiar with the chakra system. And these centers can be sort of perceived as these whirling or spinning vortices of energy in our bodies. And on the physical level, they're represented by either a nerve plexus or a particular gland in the body that's very important. And so by stimulating these with vibration or a sound that resonates with them, we can begin to clear them. And they're like little doorways that open up to help energy rise up the spine. The importance of having energy flowing up your spine is that attunement is probably one of the more important qualities on the spiritual path. And to the degree that our energy is held in the lower centers, we become attuned to the vibration that is represented there. So at the base of the spine, you have sort of a perception of the world through only survival and getting basic needs met, having enough food and water, and really on an energetic level it's feeling secure. And if you're viewing your entire life from just these lower centers, we start to see, why there's competition, why there is a separation consciousness that I need to just have as much for myself as possible. So part of being attuned is that we want to raise the energy up the spine to the spiritual eye, opening all these doorways to the spine, and thus we can become attuned to a higher frequency of awareness. And this is really the essence of the game here that we're all playing. If you've ever tried to change a habit in your life, and a month later, after all of your good willful attempts, you go right back to the same way of being, the same patterns. What this represents is that the shift happened on an outer level. It never occurred on a level of consciousness. And so in order for us to really create lasting or permanent change in our lives, we have to affect the underlying energy or vibration or consciousness that is beneath our actions, our words, and our thoughts. So attunement to a higher energy or a higher frequency is the way that we initiate this process of inner transformation. The only way to create lasting change is to lift to a higher frequency of energy. And if we keep doing this over and over and over, soon we find that habits, ways of being that were perhaps attractive to us in the past no longer have the same hold. So if you have any particular challenges in your life right now, whether it be with perceptions, the way that you're viewing the world, your relationship with yourself, or even your relationship with your environment, rather than initiating this outward force to change yourself by strict ways of being or thinking, if we can lift our consciousness, we'll find that we no longer have a magnetic draw to these particular actions or these particular ways of being. And there's no better way to do that than to stimulate the energy centers in the body. As you stimulate these centers, think like you're looking down a very long hallway and the first door is shut. All that you can see is that one doorway right in front of you would open, and you have the view of the next, and the next, and the next. And with all of these doorways open, all the way to the spiritual eye, we find that energy is able to rise, and we're able to see the true reality in front of us, no longer colored by the hue of our own personal limitations and baseline of energy. So this involves chanting with me this morning. Please chant out loud. Chanting does not require that you have a singing voice. And in fact, these are just sort of like a hum or an om that we're doing with our voice. They start out rather low, so go ahead and find a nice comfortable seat if you haven't already. and we'll begin here. So we're starting very low, and the first sound is lam, L-A-M, and it's at the very base of your spine. So if you close your eyes and you can actually feel these centers will start to vibrate depending on your awareness of the inner body. So when you're ready, you can join with me and we'll chant Base of the throat is hum, so H-A-M, hum. Hum. Base of the skull, top of the spine, which is the negative pole of the spiritual eye, we'll chant Om. Finally, to the spiritual eye, we'll shift all the energy to the front side of the forehead. Point between the eyebrows, gently lifted. Final vibration of Om. themselves. All the lights do light themselves. All the doors do open themselves. All the lights do light themselves. Darkness like a dark bird flies away, flies away. Darkness like a dark bird flies away, flies away. Who is in my temple? Who is in my temple? All the doors do open themselves. All the lights do light themselves. All the doors do open themselves. All the lights do light themselves. Darkness like a dark bird flies away, flies away. Darkness like a dark bird flies away, flies away. Who is in my temple? Who is in my temple? All the doors do open themselves. All the lights do light themselves. All the doors do open themselves. All the lights do light themselves. Darkness like a dark bird flies away, flies away. Darkness like a dark bird flies away, flies away. Who is in my temple? Who is in my temple? All the doors do open themselves. All the lights do light themselves. All the doors do open themselves. All the lights do light themselves. Darkness like a dark bird flies away, flies away. Darkness like a dark bird flies away, flies away. Who is in my temple? 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 All the doors do open themselves. All the lights do light themselves. All the doors do open themselves. All the lights do light themselves. Darkness like a dark bird flies away, flies away. Darkness like a dark bird flies away, flies away. Darkness like a dark bird flies away, flies away. Let's just take a few moments, eyes closed, awareness turned inward, so that you can feel the effects of energy rising up the spine. Let the breath be natural. Establishing the inner senses of listening, feeling, and intuitively perceiving. Let's shift the energy up to the spiritual eye for the last 3 breaths as we pause here to establish a healthy attunement in the beginning of our practice. When you're ready, you can slowly open the eyes. Let's take a deep cleansing breath and we'll open arms all the way up and around. Big deep inhalation in through the nose. And exhale, you can turn the palms out and spread that space all open and around you. Keep awareness in the spine, inhaling, lifting, and expanding that quality of energy through the crown of the head. And then this time we'll bend elbows and come into our first asana, mountain pose. A little bit of pressure between the palms creates an energetic lock throughout the body that helps to magnetize or draw energy up the spine. Of course, if this is challenging, hands can always be down in prayer. Sit nice and tall for a few breaths. Feel that sense of awareness throughout your spine. Very important for our attunement in our practice. When you're ready, you release the pose by inhaling, separating palms, reaching up as tall as you can, and then you could turn them out and start to bathe that space around you. Good. We're going to set our hands back and come out of our seat here, and you can just take legs long for a few minutes or a few moments here, and we'll drum the knees on the ground. A few cleansing breaths into the nose. How about feet side to side, just sort of loosening up the legs. Our bodies cannot be conductive if they're holding tension or very tight. And then how about stirring the feet? So just around in a circle here. Stirring feet around. And then reversing the direction. And then we'll step feet down to the earth, keep moving up through the chain of the legs, let your knees go side to side, a little rolling from one side to the other. So as you practice yoga asana or yoga postures, try to keep the body really relaxed. Everything's sort of soft and at ease, so that as you move through these motions, you start to find a place where you're gliding, where there is an inner energy that is pushing you or guiding you to the next position. Of course, these are just warm-ups. Good. We'll get further up the spine now by sweeping feet out and around, and we can come up onto hands and knees. So taking hands underneath the shoulders, we'll step hands just beyond what's natural and then go ahead and circle in your hips. So start smoothing and moving, starting to massage the muscles of the hips by breathing and relaxing the hips into a greater and greater spiral. Let your shoulders be relaxed, and especially your jaw. So if you're new to this process of releasing tension in the body, there are a few counter tension locations in the body. One of them is in the jaw, and another is in the hands, another in the feet, another at the point between the two eyebrows. So being mindful, let's reverse the rotation of keeping these places free from tension. Keep the shoulders relaxed as well. Good. And we're going to start working in rolling the belly up into the spine. So if you've practiced with me before, this is a nice little sequence just to open the spine up. So you stir your belly up in towards the spine and then release it down to the earth. Good. And if you can, keep some energy centered at the spiritual eye. You might even chant the sound of Om inwardly. Any energy that's ready to release, help it by lifting your gaze to the spiritual eye. Reverse the rotation if you've been stirring in one direction the whole time. And we're going to move to a vertical motion here. So coming through cow pose and then exhaling up and through cat. Just remind yourself to stay relaxed and to keep breathing. So cow pose, the belly drops, crown of the head to the sky. Cat pose, belly up into the spine. We look towards the lap. Good. Let's work up into the shoulders. So coming into a neutral position here, just stir your chest. So lifting chest and dropping rolling your shoulders. Good. And then get one and then the other. So you'll have to bend at the elbows and kind of experiment here. But you just want to roll your shoulders back in the body and then try forwards. Now, if this process is anything but really smooth and graceful, which for most of us it is not, this is an opportunity to find a little grace in your body. Good, we'll go into the head and the neck here. Just lower the head down and do a little bit of stirring with the crown of the head. So keep the neck relaxed. And then how about a little wave here like a bell, so ear to shoulder, ear to shoulder. Try to keep your neck relaxed so that it's safe. Good. And then a little yes energy, just sort of peeking into opening in the neck. Good. And we're going to go ahead and come right off of both hands and knees and walk ourselves to the back of the mat. The spine is open now. When you're ready, you can just press your way up to your comfortable standing position. Good. When you arrive here, take a little scratch of the scalp and a little pulse of the weight from one foot to the other. Keep stimulating some energy up here into the brain. The focus is on the crown of the head, the spiritual eye. Good. Make sure you cover the whole surface here. If you don't have a relationship with touching your own head, maybe take some time here to cultivate that and get to know what it feels like when we stimulate this area. And then we'll do soft drumming. So fists are gently gathered. And if you want to keep pulsing, feel free. If you want to stand still, you can do that as well. I personally like to do a little pulsing here. The affirmation for this little pose: be wise, be strong, my brain. Be wise, be strong. You're bringing vitality back to the brain. Good. All right, let's go ahead and we'll join feet underneath the hips. When you're ready, take a little bend of the knees. We're going to inhale, try squeezing the feet, squeeze the ankles, the calves, the knees, the thighs, the glutes, belly, spine, chest, right up through the arms. Send that energy right to the spiritual eye and exhale and relax the body, relax the arms down. We'll do it 2 more times here. So inhaling, squeeze the feet, the ankles, calves, knees, thighs, glutes, belly, back, chest, shoulders, arms, throat. Even muscles of the face, squish your face. Take a deep breath in. Good. Exhale, relax the body. Gently relax and spread the arms open nice and wide. I think we can do one more round here. Inhale, sweep up. Put together light tension through the body. Reach, reach, reach. Let the ribs peel up away from the hips. And then exhale and relax. Good. Feet a little bit wider. It's a little Tai Chi move here. We're just going to let the arms clap against the body. So your arms are nice and relaxed here. Back hand touches the kidney, which is the low spine. Right over on one side and then the other. And you almost create like a little bit of a whipping motion with the hands. Just enough to get them to clap against the body. Good. So we're energizing the whole length of the spine. And then you can go up to, front hand goes up to the shoulder. So back hand still down. And I like to come off of my heel a little bit. So when I'm clapping over to the left, my right heel lifts, vice versa. Good. You should start to feel a little stimulation of vitality in the body. And then we'll go back down to the waist and then come back to neutral here. Good. Feet underneath your hips, hands out in front of the heart center. We're going to double inhale and open the arms. Tense the arms and release. Bend the knees. Keep activating energy. Again. One more. And release. Hands can come into the heart. And just rest here for a moment and feel the energy rising in the spine, or at least the energy gathering into the spine. We'll look to the spiritual eye. Feel the brain awaken, the body starting to illumine with the breath. Calm, abiding feelings. You can leave your feet as they are, or you can step them close together. Your choice for this next position. We're going to start over on the left side by inhaling and reaching arms up straight above the head, and then leaning up and over to the side. The tendency for most of us is to close the heart towards the earth. Keep the heart open. So even if you need to slightly bend the elbows, we're going to look over to our right side and breathe here. The more that you can lean, the deeper the position will stimulate the spine. The affirmation for half moon pose: be wise, rather strength and courage fill my body cells. We should be wise and be strong, but strength and courage fill my body cells. The affirmation: strength and courage fill my body cells. Good, nice fullness of breath here. Stay for a little bit. The body is so awakened. Strength and courage fill my body cells. You're ready to come through neutral. You go ahead and inhale and reach the arms directly above the head, and then exhale and release the arms down. You can leave the feet as they are and just close the eyes for a moment. Stand tall in your spine. Strength and courage fill my body cells. Strength and courage fill my body cells. And then we'll sweep arms up overhead and reach over and off to the other side. If you're hearing sounds in the background, those are the noises of the kitchen. Use them as an opportunity to breathe and relax. Lengthen arms up above the head. I used to practice at a yoga studio that was right next to an HVAC shop, and these guys would use sawzalls and cut through sheet metal. And it's a wonderful opportunity, no matter the sounds around us, to breathe and just to accept what's happening. We don't want outer conditions to control us. Strength and courage fill my body cells. Strength and courage fill my body cells. You want to actively reach in this pose so that your spine stays long. Use these affirmations to awaken the consciousness. Strength and courage fill my body cells. Take another 1 to 3 breaths here, reaching up and above the head. When you're finished, deep inhalation finds ribs lifting away from the hips, and then exhale, melt the arms down and around, and pause for a moment, eyes closed, and lift the gaze right to the spiritual eye. Strength and courage fill my body cells. Strength and courage fill my body cells. Just take a moment to feel the body is being energized by the consciousness that you are magnetizing into your experience right now. Strength and courage fill my body cells. When you're ready, you can slowly open the eyes and you position yourself on the mat so that you can go ahead and step your right foot back. Let's do 1 step, and then we're going to do 2 steps back. In this version, try to keep your heel lifted. And this is Warrior One pose. Some people call it the crescent lunge. And you want to settle down into the pose, knee right over your ankle, hands into the heart. And if you can lengthen your arms up to the sky, go ahead and reach up into the heavens. The affirmation, I attune my will to the source of all power. That ever important word on the spiritual path and inner reality of attunement. The only way that we can grow is by attuning to a higher frequency. Otherwise, no matter how well intended we are, our changes will only be temporary if we don't shift our consciousness. Let's shift our consciousness with the affirmation, I attune my will to the source of all power. I attune my will to the source of all power. Stay nice and strong off the back leg. Heel is lifted. I attune my will to the source of all power. And feel that sense of energy through the body. I attune my will to the source of all power. When you're ready, you can part the arms down so you can spread that awareness all throughout the field around you. And as you're ready, you take maybe 1 step or 2 steps or even 3 and come back to the front of the mat and just pause and feel that wonderful awakening of vitality through the whole right side of the body. Feel that it starts to glow from the stimulation. There's a strong pranic awakening that happens. Center awareness at the spiritual eye. I attune my will to the source of all power. Relax the muscles and feel. Lift through crown of the head. I attune my will to the source of all power. Whenever you are ready in your practice, we'll set for the other side. So we step left foot behind us. And remember, you can do about 1 step. Some of us might get 2. Others of us may get 3 steps back. And you get nice and strong in your foundation before you continue. So if you look at my back leg, the knee bending is not a very stable position. So lengthen the back leg and firm up all the muscles. And then you reach the arms out and around and above the head. Now, if your shoulders are tight up by your ears, relax them down, arms extending into the sky. Look to your front leg and make sure you can see your toes, or at least a couple of them, the big toe and first. Good, nice and stable, strong in the body. I attune my will to the source of all power. Keep upward rising energy. I attune my will to the source of all power. We're attuning our consciousness to the spiritual eye to lift our energy. The yogis say that when we lift all of our energy, our complete energetic capacity to the spiritual eye, that's when we find the experience of enlightenment. And so practicing and lifting this energy is a very practical way of transcending low vibration consciousness. I tune my will to the source of all power. Stay strong in your pose here. Of course, if shoulders get tired, hands go into the heart, but see if you can stay there and really energize your body. I attune my will to the source of all power. When you're ready, hands can go ahead and sweep down and around so that you can take your steps forward. You might do 1, you might be 2 or 3. When you get all the way back to the front, close the eyes and watch very closely on the left side of the body. So you're cultivating a capacity to sense the inner body. This will really transform the experience of your postures. All right, all the energy to spiritual eye, and we'll just chant Om here a few times. You can do it out loud or silently, your choice. Om. 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 And let's do the full yogic breath just to cleanse the spine. Inhale, lift the palms up from the belly. You're carrying all the energy up through the spine. Lift, lift, lift. Leave nothing behind. And then exhale, spread that out and around and take a forward fold. Knees bend if necessary. Good. Inhale, draw that energy all the way from soles of the feet, up the legs, up the spine. Finish the inhale. Exhale, release. Evaporate that energy from the body. Inhale, rising. Keep inhaling, lifting, lifting, lifting. Exhale, spread it nice and wide and bow the heart forward. It's good. Last time in this way. Inhale, we rise. Carrying, lifting, intentional practices. Exhale, turn the palms out, nice and wide. Another very invigorating posture. Let's come to the front of the mat, and you're going to take your feet side by side. Step your right foot to begin. 1 step back with toes pointing to the side. 2 steps if you want to go a little deeper. We're coming into triangle pose. Let your hips naturally open out to the side. And you're going to take your front hand and just press right into the hip crease and start to lean forwards. And there's a point where you can really push off the sole of the foot to keep your front leg energized. Other hand can stay on the hip and you can look behind you. If you want to go a little deeper, you can rest down on forearm and send opposite arm up to the sky. If you need to bend the front knee, of course you can stay in a side angle pose if you'd like, but keep working towards straightening that leg. Some of us do backside of the palm down towards the knee. We reach the opposite arm up into the sky. feeling the energy and the joy of the practice. So the energization is happening to the stimulation of our legs and our spinal centers. But when we look up to this top palm, if we can reach that with our gaze, the affirmation tells us, joy descends to me. Energy and joy fill my body cells. Joy descends to me. Energy and joy fill my body. Joy descends to me. Stay here for a little bit if you can and just breathe. Energy and joy fill my being. Joy descends to me. Look to the earth ever if you need to relax the neck. Energy and joy fill my body. Joy descends to me. Don't believe the input from your senses. Affirm the consciousness that you wish to cultivate. Joy descends to me, and feel that entering through your top arm right into your heart. When you're ready to leave the practice, bend your knee and you can press off of that leg if necessary. We're going to straighten both legs and reach up to the sky, palms open. Good. And you know what? Let's actually turn our toes to face the side of our mat. And we'll take a big forward fold here just to release all that energy from the head to the earth. Good, let's bend the knees and come back up. We'll revisit that pose in a moment and just stand tall. Energy and joy flood my being, fill my being. Joy descends to me. Energy at the spiritual eye. Energy and joy fill my being, fill my body. Joy descends to me. And you'll find by repetition of this practice of lifting energy to the spiritual eye that there is an unlimited source of energy that enters through the base of your skull. And if you can tap into that supply, these moments of rest are transformative, rejuvenating. Let's take another forward fold, so hands under the thighs, deep breath in. Exhale, release the breath and relax the head down and forwards. The affirmation, I relax and cast aside all mental burdens. Feel free to inhale and lift halfway. And then exhale to fold forwards. I relax and cast aside all mental burdens, whatever might be burdening your consciousness. The key is I relax and cast aside all mental burdens. Try stretching muscles of the face in this position, scrunching nose and forehead. When you're ready to rise out of the pose, bend in the knees enough that you can press your hands up off of your thighs, and then you come back. So just take a moment here of neutral spine. We're going to heel toe back to the center and just take a moment here to breathe. Close the eyes if you can and still balance. And yes, energy goes back to the spiritual eye. Again, let's chant Om. These practices are not light in their capacity for transformation. Every time that you shift to the spiritual eye, you're magnetically drawing the seeds of habits and actions that don't serve your joyful expression. They don't honor your bliss nature. So we're magnetically drawing them up the spine with each round of breath. We're talking about permanent change in our being. Let's chant the sound of Om together here. Nice high-pitched Om lifts the energy high in the body. Om. 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 Just a moment of stillness here, spiritual eye awakening. Body relax. Gently open the eyes as you're ready. So we'll come for the other side in our sequence here. You just walk over to the front of your mat. You take your step back. Try one step to begin. Some of us can do two. Others of us are ready for three. And you're going to straighten out this front leg here for triangle pose. And take the inside edge of your hand. And just go ahead and press into the hip flexor. There's a little muscle there. If you start to relax it, you'll be able to lean forwards more. And you want your leg nice and active here, so your kneecap is drawn up. And you're pushing out of sole of the feet, both feet. There's an upward gathering energy. Good. So you might stay here, and this is a great place to start in triangle pose. Too often we go so deep into a posture that we lose ourselves. And if you can send the other arm up into the sky, feel free. This is a great next step. And if you can keep leaning over, keep the head in line with the spine, some of us can release backside of the palm to the inner thigh here, and that gentle pressure will help you to open your heart. So sometimes we think downward slouching energy, think upward pulling here. Like you're holding onto a rope above you, and you'll find that there's much more energy able to rise up the spine. Energy and joy fill my body. Joy descends to me. Repeat it with conviction. Energy and joy fill my body. Joy descends to me. Joy descends to me. Wake that sleeping consciousness up. Energy and joy fill my body. Joy descends to me. Oh, breathe that right into the heart. Joy descends to me. Right until it makes you smile. Joy descends to me. Know that the essence of your being is bliss. And as such, anything that contradicts that bliss is not serving you and is not you at all. Is the result of karma or disharmonious living. Energy and joy flood my body. Flood my body. Joy descends to me. You stay here for a few more breaths and feel that wonderful sense of awakening. Then this is why it's good to choose an easier version so that we can hold these postures longer and really feel the transformation. Energy and joy fill my body. Joy descends to me. Nice, steady breath here. When you are ready to rise, you just take it gently and go ahead and lengthen, reaching up into the sky. Reach, reach, reach. Nice and long. Pull the ribs off the hips. Good. And let's come to neutral position here. So turn your toes to face the side of your mat so that they're equal. And if you could just take a moment here to feel that awakening. Energy and joy fill my body. I like flood my body. It's very dramatic. Energy and joy flood my body like a torrential flood of newfound consciousness and energy. Energy and joy flood my body. Joy descends to me. Let's accept some of that descending joy. You can reach your arms up in a capital V shape here. Energy and joy flood my body, flood my being. Energy and joy fill my brain. Joy descends to me. Joy descends into my heart. All right, when you're ready, you can come back down into neutral or stay in your bliss wherever you are. We're going to take hands onto our lap, toes facing the same way. You take a deep breath in, and then exhale and release down and relax the head and neck. Just relax all the way down in a big forward fold. The affirmation, I relax and cast aside all mental burdens. Feel the consciousness in your mind and your body. I relax and cast aside all mental burdens. Release those inner conflicts of mind. Send the inner narrator home. Send him on holiday. I relax and cast aside all mental burdens. When you're ready to inhale, you rise halfway. Stand strong in your spine. Deep breath in. And then exhale. I relax and cast aside all mental burdens. Let's rest here for several breaths. I relax and cast aside all mental burdens. It's okay if you ever feel sensations in your practice that aren't what these affirmations are affirming. So you may feel frustration or discomfort or dis-ease in the body, and this is okay. Let's begin to rise by bending the knees and pushing off of the thighs. We're going to come back into our standing pose, so gentle as you are, come back. And this is an important aspect of our practice. Let's close the eyes, center awareness at the spiritual eye. It's a supreme blessing if we begin to feel these feelings, whether it be sorrow, whether it be anger, because in the context of this awakening, these energies are releasing. You're opening doorways, and what was trapped in there is now ready to leave. So give it a place to exit, and that's at the spiritual eye. Again, let's chant the sound of Om and just feel that sweeping or that magnetic drawing of energy up your spine. You're releasing permanently these energies that have been holding you down in low vibration consciousness. At one point they served you. Let's release them with the sound of Om. Gently turn the palms upward facing. We'll inhale and lift through the spine. Nice and light, evaporate the hands outward. Again. Good. One more time. Good, and then release. Take feet a little bit wider. Swing the arms, come right back into our little Tai Chi movement here. Just wave the arms, clap against the body. Close the eyes if you so choose. The affirmation we'll use for this little movement: new life, new consciousness, now flood my being. Let's feel that sense of the body being refilled and recharged. New life, new consciousness, now flood my being. New life, new consciousness, now flood my being. Slowly start to come down, back to neutral. We're going to step all the way to the back of the mat here. And you take a little descending energy down to the ground. Bend the knees enough that you can touch your hands down. And we're going to pass right down onto hands and knees. And let's take one moment here in Vajrasana. If you can sit over your ankles, wonderful. If you need to tuck your toes, feel free. If you need to kneel, you can also kneel. But we're just going to rest here for a moment. Just breathe. Come back to the spiritual eye. Whole body is soft. And you'll find through repetitions of this style of practice that we're not stretching the body anymore. There's no need to be stretching the muscles if you relax the tension out of the muscles. You'll find that your body becomes more flexible, it becomes stronger, more dynamic in this style. Let's come off of the ankles just so we're not uncomfortable here. You're going to sweep the feet around. And we're going to come down onto our back. So we'll just pass right through the floor positions here and come right onto our backs, knees in towards the chest. We're going to come into a plow pose. So if you've never tried plow pose before, just take a look first. If you do know how to do it, feel free to come right in. So if you're just starting, push off your elbows, lengthen your feet over your face, and you hold on to your glutes or the top side of your hips. Do not look left or right. If you can go further and release the feet further back, feel free. If knees are bent, that's okay. Anybody that touches feet to the ground, circle arms up above the head. And we're going to pause here in this position of plow pose. You choose what your body can get into. New life, new consciousness, flood my being. Boy, you can really feel that sense of flooding into the brain, into the heart, throat center. New life, new consciousness, now flood my being. And the more that you can just relax into this flow of energy, the more deeply it can really churn and begin to transform your inner energies. Look to the spiritual eye in the pose. New life, new consciousness. Now flood my being. New life, new consciousness, now flood my being. Stay in the high vibration state with deep breath. And feel the inner attunement. The body instrument is being retuned. It is being calibrated to a higher vibrational state in which we start to magnetize matching thoughts and feelings in the body. Breathe here, breathe steady. Now for anyone that would like to try, there's a really beautiful posture that comes right from plow, which is knee to ear pose. So if you need to come out of plow to watch me, please don't try to watch while you're in plow, but you can set your knees towards your ears. Just a little bend of the knees.
Your hands are down on the ground. Toes are untucked or tucked, depending on what you need. And if anybody can seal their knees in towards their ears, you can start to block off the sense of hearing, and you can block off the sense of sight by closing the eyes. And this will really transform your consciousness. Let's breathe here for several rounds. If you need to come out of the pose, of course, you come right onto your back with knees in towards the chest. I think there's a rather special affirmation for this. Let's see if I can find it. Wherever you are, a nice deep breath here, supporting the position. Let's see. There's all these wonderful affirmations. Oh, I think I'm just about to find it. Bear with me. Ah, perfect. My boat of life floats lightly on tides of peace. Wow, beautiful. My boat of life floats lightly on tides of peace. My boat of life floats lightly on tides of peace. What a unique affirmation. When you're ready to lower out, you just go ahead and settle feet back onto the ground. And feel free to wave the knees side to side. So when you're lying on your back and waving the knees, you're flushing the spine. Good. And then come to neutral when you're ready and just close the eyes and look to the spiritual eye. Let's pause for a moment here and just feel that wonderful awakening of consciousness. The affirmation, my boat of life floats lightly on tides of peace. When you're ready, we're going to set for an inversion posture. So there are many different forms of this. You can watch if you need to. For any experienced yogis that would like to come into, it can be a shoulder stand, it can be supportive shoulder stand, it can be legs up the wall. But for the rest of us who may be new, watch before you try the position. So go ahead and assume the position you're ready for. So hands and soft fists tucked underneath the glutes, slightly sitting on the hands. You can send the feet up into the sky. This is usually a good place for us to breathe. If you'd like to come a little further, plug elbows into the ground and sweep the feet overhead and push into your elbows, and you should be able to lift your hips into your hands. And you lengthen legs. Shoulder stand, you just walk hands further up the body. Further up the body. Nice, steady breath. Use the supportive breath. Affirmation, awake my sleeping powers, awake. Awake, O my sleeping powers, awake. Turn the inner gaze of the spiritual eye and feel the awakening that's happening. Notice how the body and the breath respond to this new frequency of consciousness that you're resting in. The breath starts to get lighter and sweeter.
And the body starts to relax and trust. It knows that it's safe, so it opens for you. And even the inner energy in the body responds to this new consciousness. Instead of our energy being scattered in a million directions, diffused into little tiny streamlets with barely any power or potential, this consciousness magnetizes the energy back into one solid stream of single-pointed focus and awareness. And you can stay here for several more breaths. You can stay here for 5, 7, 10, 15 more breaths, as many as you'd like. For anybody that feels they need to come down and rest, then you just bend the knees and slowly release down. Release the hips back to the ground. If there was a final posture that you were hoping for today in this class, or even just a small movement like knees floating side to side, a little twisting. Careful, especially for experienced practitioners, not to slip into an old groove, but to keep this new awakened consciousness fresh and flowing. When you're ready, we'll all relax down into Shavasana, which is the final resting pose, lying down on your back. So you lie down flat, legs extended, palms face up. We're going to rest here for a period of time. Slowing down. The affirmation for Shavasana: bones, muscles, movement, I surrender now. Anxiety, elation, and depression, churning thoughts, all these I give into the hands of peace. Bones, muscles, movement, I surrender now. Anxiety, elation, and depression, churning thoughts, all these I give into the hands of peace. Surrender the body, the mind, the breath into the hands of peace, remaining actively engaged at the spiritual eye. In Shavasana, you have the opportunity to allow your consciousness to expand out into the room around you. We'll take a silent Shavasana for 5 minutes or so. before moving the physical body. Just take a few moments here to be centered in the heart. To rise to the point between the eyebrows, the spiritual eye, looking upward. Feeling the superhighway of the spine open, energy freely rising. Feel the mind calm, all of our thought citizens aligned for one single pointed focus or concentration. We're going to take a double inhalation and lightly tense the whole body. Not too vigorous, just lightly. We'll do it together. Double inhale. Just enough to gently stimulate and release. Nice and gradual. And release. One more time if you'd like. And release. Well, let's send arms up overhead along the earth. Deep breath in. Reaching and lengthening. And knees in towards the chest as you're ready. We'll roll off to the side. You're going to come up into a comfortable seat gradually. So use the breath to rise. Let it be smooth so there aren't sharp transitions. Everything nice and gradual. When you are returning back to your comfortable seat, find length in the spine. Complete relaxation of muscles and nervous system and mind. Just have a few rounds of our opening chant. Who is in my temple? All the doors do open themselves, all the lights do light themselves. We're speaking about the energy centers in the body, the doorways of the spine. Darkness like a dark bird flies away, the dark bird of ignorance. Chant along if you'd like, or just listen. When chanting, energy starts in the heart and lifts to the spiritual eye. Doors experience here with long spine, heart open. Feeling how your own personal consciousness and inner vibration has been attuned to a higher frequency. Where soul qualities like bees to the sweet smell of the flower are drawn, of love and joy, peace, wisdom, power, light and sound, calmness. Let's look to the spiritual eye, taking a couple more moments together in silence. Join the hands together in prayer. And we bring someone into this space that we have cultivated this practice today, who could benefit from the high vibration, the healing energy. See this person completely enveloped in this energy, and that it's healing them for their best and their highest good. It's worth noting that that is often far from what we think is for someone's best and highest good. So attune yourself to divine will and let that be your will. We pray for their best and their highest good. Excuse me, and we extend that prayer out to all beings. Let's rub the palms together. Get some good energy generated here, actively rubbing, waking the whole body up. Good, rub the arms, both arms, palms back together. Let's extend the palms out nice and wide. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Open mouth, exhale. We'll send 3 rounds of Om, blessing the world. Deep breath in. Drawing hands together in prayer, thumbs connecting at the spiritual eye, we take a gentle bow of the head, and we bow to that place within us that is divine, that is holy, untouched by the experiences of this world, forever blissful. We choose to align ourselves, ask this divine nature to guide you, to infuse every thought, word, and action with divine bliss. We bow to this place in all beings, knowing that this is the essence of every soul, and say Namaste, Namaste. You can take your time slowly opening the eyes. So thank you all for joining me on that journey this morning. I hope that your energy feels very uplifted, and remember this as you move through your day. Take time, even if it's just a couple minutes, to lift your energy to the spiritual eye. A few deep breaths here can really help to transform any mood or energy that's no longer serving you. You are yogis and yoginis, and you can alchemize these energies in your body through breath and concentration at the spiritual eye. So take that practice with you. Inspire joy, peace, soul qualities in everyone you meet today. Namaste, everyone.